Hello, hello, welcome. It's Marsha Grace, your Calm Creativity Connector here. It's Friday, and today I am going to be starting a new series. We finished up our Abundance Mentality series that we were doing for months, it seems, a long time. And we're going to start on a new topic today, which is patience. And patience, we're going to talk about what it is, first of all, but I'm sure we can all relate to being impatient, perhaps, at times, especially in the extreme experiences that we've gone through over the last year and a half or whatever it is. And, but, anytime, right? I mean, there's always opportunities to be impatient in our busy, busy lives. So, but I want to start with a story. And so my story is this. How many of us are impatient drivers? Okay. Yes. Are you one of those? Okay. So I'm driving to my physical therapy appointment last week. And, well, every time I go, I'm going for a while now. Got a shoulder problem that needs a little treatment. So, the road that I'm on, when I get to the place that I have to turn into, is on the south side of the road. So I have to make a left turn across traffic to get there. So I get there and I'm running a little late because there was a blockage on the road and whatever and so forth. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to be late. I don't want to be late. And I come to the spot where I have to make my turn, and the traffic from the other direction is just coming and coming and coming, and nobody will stop and let me out, and they're just coming and coming, and I'm starting to get frazzled, and I'm just like, "Arr!" And then, I'm sensitive now to my own pain. So when I felt that, you want to just scream. I said, wait a minute, that feels lousy. I don't like the way that feels. And then I just rethought it. I said, no, I'm not going to do this. This is no way to feel, and I'm not happy with it. So I just stopped. I closed my eyes, and I took a big, slow, deep breath. And when I opened my eyes and looked up, a car had stopped to let me continue across the road. So of course I waved and I, thank you, a truly kind individual has let me through. And then I went into my appointment. So it was that taking that deep breath. You may say, well, what made me happy at that moment was that the guy let me through. And yeah, that's certainly true. But really, it was that recognition of my impatience, and then the realization that I didn't want to feel that way, and the choice to, do something to bring that sense of patience back, and that I could, that I'd be fine, everything would be fine. So, so that's the little story, and this goes. We have, endless stories like this goes out on all throughout the day. We have opportunities to check our impatience, because I think impatience is kind of accepted in our society today. In many societies long ago, it was not. It was really considered inappropriate to be impatient. But today it's kind of, sure, we're all impatient, we're all rushing around, we all need to get things done. And so we kind of excuse it. And that's fine. The thing is, though, that we want to see, what is impatience doing to me? How is it affecting me? That perhaps it's not in my own best interests to be impatient. So that's really where I'm coming from, because it's all about handling our stress. I'm this stress diva, and we're releasing stress diva, and I really want to find every little scrap moment in our day where we run into our stress and how we can release it. So being impatient is certainly an example of stress, right? I'll talk about how impatience manifests in a minute, but First, I want to just mention that I was reading a study in the Journal of Positive Psychology, and they have a 3-factor patience scale. These psychologists have all these fancy terms, and they mentioned, so there's three kinds of impatience. And the first one is interpersonal. So this would be, being impatient with your family, your friends, your customers, your clients, your strangers, anybody, of just, here I am in the middle of traffic and so forth. And so that's interpersonal, and that unless you're living under a rock or you're a hermit or something, you're going to have to deal with that. We're all going to have situations where we are just caught up in something that we rather not be caught up in. And so we want to get finished with it. We want to get it over with. And we exhibit a lot of impatience. So that's the first one, interpersonal. The second one is life hardship, they call it. And that's things that happen infrequently, but they happen. And things like, you lose your job, and you've got to find a job. So that sense of, and there's another element that comes involved into that I'll talk about in a second. But so you lost a job and you have to find a job. So there's that sense of doom, I got to pay my bills and blah, 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 blah. And so we get impatient with our job search, perhaps. Also things like divorce. Divorce is rampant in our country. And so maybe our divorce isn't going well. Maybe people are being unreasonable. And maybe it's not happening as fast as you would like it. And so there's a lot of impatience there. Another thing, or maybe another illustration of that would be illness. Because, illness is also something we deal with. I think just about all of us have had some, especially now with COVID and all of that, have had some brush with illness in the recent past. So again, impatience with doctors not telling you things, impatience with the nursing staff not coming in and doing things in a timely fashion, impatience with our own illness that it should go away, whatever it is, that whole thing about how we deal with a very stressful situation when there's somebody we are ill or somebody we care about is ill. So. All right, those are the 3 types. One more. Daily hassles. The third, I mentioned the third one, is daily hassles, just like my story about being in traffic. So daily hassles, and that's one of my examples is the traffic, because we're all driving around in cars, many of us, especially now that we can actually go out again. And so there's that traffic things. And then, of course, what about the long lines now when we get into the supermarket or we're waiting at the DMV or wherever it is, and we're waiting on lines, and we're waiting. And one other thing I can think of offhand is, when you call up some big institutional company to get some information, or pay a bill or something, and you're standing on hold, you're on hold. So those are the kind of things that are happening every day to all of us, right? We're all having these kind of situations. So these are the daily situations of where impatience rears its head, and where we have an opportunity to rethink it and say, do I really have to be impatient in this situation? Do I have to? What are the pros and cons of that? We know what the pros are. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I should be annoyed, right? I mean, this is going on and it shouldn't happen, and and I have a right to be upset. Okay, but what about the cons? What about the negative effects of impatience? Things like feeling stressed. Number 1, feeling stressed. When you're impatient, are you peaceful? Are you joyful? Heck no, you're not. You are, you're just like all, not clear. You're not focused. You're not able to handle situations with, equanimity. So that definitely stress is one of the ways. And of course, many of the most common way I think that impatience manifests itself is in anger. We get angry. We're angry that that the line doesn't move faster. We're angry that the cars don't stop. We're angry, that this person is not listening to me. Whatever it is. So that's another very common way that impatience exhibits itself. But there are other more subtle ways, and things like getting very quiet, and kind of like, just kind of shrinking in, depression maybe. That could be another form of impatience, believe it or not, because it's like we just shut down and we say, I can't deal with this, and it's terrible, and I just don't want to think about it, and we just retreat. So that's another way that impatience can show itself. And so just monitor yourself, notice these things, because patience is developing. Patience is a muscle. It's like developing muscles. Okay, you want to get big, strong muscles, so you want to have patience muscles. And the way you do that, of course, is by noticing when you are feeling impatient, when you're annoyed, when you're angry, when you're like trying to pretend like something is not happening and just kind of trying to push it aside. All of those could be indications that you're impatient, and they're affecting you. They're having an impact on your well-being, and you don't have to let that continue to happen. So that's the those are the two things that I want to say about impatience as we start this new series, and I want to give you my definition. My definition of impatience is intelligent waiting. Intelligent waiting. Okay, and what that means is that you find yourself in a situation. There is nothing you can do to change it. If there were, you would, right? There's nothing you can do. And so instead of getting all fussied up and, hysterical, best to say, okay, this is not in my control right now. And I can do something else with my time. And I'll tell you one thing I do, one thing that really helps me, especially in the car, is I listen to books, what they used to call books on tape. Of course, now they're just downloads, whatever. But I listen to things on tape. And I listen in the car to stories, books, whatever. And that, to me, is great, because I say, if I get stuck in traffic, I have something I'm enjoying, that I'm enjoying doing while I'm waiting. So it's not an imposition. It's actually, for me, I can catch up. I can get to the next chapter of the book, which is okay in my book. So that's kind of one way of handling a situation where you can tend to be impatient, is to have an alternative, have a plan B in place that you can put into place if the situation arises, like standing on lines, right? Okay, well, of course, what I see everybody doing when they're standing on lines these days is they're scrolling through their email on their phone. Perfect, right? You catch up on your email. So it's about shifting your attitude about the situation so that you can go through it with ease, with even happiness. You can be happy about the situation and not frustrated. Because, again, we don't want the frustration, we don't want the anger, we don't want that stuff, because that's going to impact our health, physically, mentally, emotionally. And one other thing I want to say about the nature of intelligent waiting, patience, is it's intelligent because there's an element of trust. Trust that I don't know what the universe has in store for me at this moment or in the next moment, but I'm willing to trust and be open to whatever's going to happen. Just be open to it, and then you look up and the car stops and lets you through. It's those kinds of things that to me, the synchronicities that occur when we allow trust to take over instead of impatience, is a wonderful, wonderful thing that'll change your life enormously and bring a smile to your face instead of a frown, and that's great, right? So, all right, I think I've said everything I have to say in this introductory talk about patience. We're going to be talking about it for the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is. And but I do want to say, as I always do, that I'm here for you, because I've spent a long time learning how to find ways to deal with my personal stress. And so now I'm like passionate about sharing it with other people so that we can all have a happier life, either in our business, in our home life, just for our own personal pleasure. And we deserve it. We absolutely deserve it. So why shouldn't we do that? So please go to my website, which is marshagrace.com, very simple, and you can find my 10 tips for finding your calm, which is a quick little thing that you could stick up somewhere, and the minute you feel that coming, you can check it out. Also, I want to invite all my busy women to come to my group on Facebook, which is Calm, Creative, Joyful for the Busy Businesswoman. And there you will find some more help, more interaction, hopefully, as the group grows, and have a place to find other people like yourself who are going through similar things that you can share. So there's that. And remember above all else, everything begins with a thought. So let's keep those thoughts light. Until next time, have a beautiful, beautiful day and week ahead.